limited speaking. And as such, I will be presiding over this meeting in partnership with our clerk, Andrew Potter. And before I call the meeting to order, I really want to thank him and Ryan Sharp for their support over these last couple of meetings. So can everybody help me in giving them a big round of applause? Thank you. It's still a little hard, so please bear with me. So with that, I'm going to call the June 25th, 2024 San Diego County Board of Supervisors regular meeting, Fire Protection District meeting, Flood Control District meeting, Redevelopment Successor Agency meeting, Sanitation District meeting, and In-Home Supportive Services Public Authority meeting to order.
Thank you. On behalf of Chairwoman Vargas, I'll read the following tribal acknowledgement. We'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the land that we call home. There are communities in the San Diego region that face unjust conditions and circumstances related to the environments in which they live. The tribal nations of the San Diego region are an example of one community that has historically faced such injustices. We acknowledge the harmony that existed between the land, nature, and its original peoples, who have since endured displacement, persecution, and systemic oppression. We pay our respect to the unceded territory and homelands of the 18 tribal nations in our region, the most in any county in the United States. From 4 cultural groups, the Kumeyaay, Digueño, the Luiseño, the Copeño, and the Cahuilla. We aspire to learn from indigenous traditional knowledge and experiences in undoing the injustices of the past. On behalf of Chairwoman Vargas, I'll now call the roll. Supervisor Anderson. Here. Supervisor Montgomery Stepp. Here. Supervisor Desmond. Vice Chair Lawson-Remer. Here. Chairwoman Vargas. Here. We'll now have Pastor Caleb Lyons deliver the invocation. Following the invocation, Latrell Crenshaw will deliver the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand for the invocation and the pledge.
Good morning, Chair Vargas, Vice Chair Lawson-Remer, supervisors, fellow citizens. It's an honor to be here with you this morning. I invite everyone to find a quiet place to be with the ground of being for you, whatever that might be. We gather here today with a sense of purpose and commitment to serve the people of San Diego County. We ask for a spirit of compassion to guide this important work. Grant us the wisdom to make decisions that are just and fair, keeping in mind the diverse needs and hopes of this community. Bless our supervisors with clarity of mind, courage of heart, and strength of spirit. May they be guided by the principles of integrity, justice, and compassion. Help them to listen with open hearts, deliberate with discernment, and act with courage. We remember the vulnerable among us, those living in poverty, experiencing homelessness, and living on the margins. May our actions today bring them hope and relief. Give us the strength to advocate for equity and to create opportunities for all to thrive. During this month of Pride, we also give deep thanks for a place that celebrates all genders and orientations as gifts to be embraced, not feared. We are grateful for the beauty of our county, for the richness of its cultures, and for the dedication of its peoples. May this meeting be a testament to our shared commitment to build a safe space where every person is valued and every voice heard. In the spirit of unity and love, may it be so. Amen.
Good morning, supervisors. Good morning, all. Will everyone please place the flag and place your right hand over your heart? Let us begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll now proceed with the proclamations and awards. Chairwoman Vargas will be presenting the first proclamation honoring Planned Parenthood of the Pacific Southwest. Accepting the proclamation will be Dar Johnson.
Please join me. Good morning, buenos días a todos. Today, I stand here with pride to recognize Planned Parenthood of the Pacific Southwest for their exceptional work in providing sexual and reproductive health care and their unwavering commitment to ensuring access for all individuals. I was very proud not to only serve as the first Latina Vice President for Planned Parenthood of the Pacific Southwest, but I am here to honor them today because of the services that provide to not only San Diego, Riverside, and Imperial counties, but where the majority of their population are underserved communities and underinvested communities. Planned Parenthood has been a lifeline to so many, especially after the Supreme Court's decision to overturn the Dobbs versus Jackson. And yesterday, June 24th, marked the 2 years since the overturning of this decision and changing the landscape of abortion access across the country. It's important to remember that abortion is health care. And since the decision, 21 states across the nation have either banned or eliminated access to abortion, entirely denying people the right to make the choices that are best for their health and for their lives. Planned Parenthood has continued to fight to extend access to abortion care and reproductive health care services for all. Planned Parenthood of the Pacific Southwest remains steadfast in ensuring that every person receives the care and education they need, regardless of race, income, insurance, gender identity, sexual orientation, abilities, or immigration status. For me, this is a special day to be able to recognize Planned Parenthood because Planned Parenthood is an organization and a healthcare provider that has for decades been able to provide healthcare for so many, not only in our communities, but throughout the state and in our country. I first participated with Planned Parenthood as a patient, then as a volunteer, and then to be able to be part of the team. What Planned Parenthood is a family of warriors, a family of guerreros, a family of people who don't give up, and through adversity have shown us all that when people come after us, we don't back down. Because in the end, this is making sure that we provide health care for those that need it the most. So what we learn at Planned Parenthood is you can come after us, but we won't let you because we know that we're doing the right thing because every person in this United States deserves to have access to health care, and abortion is health care. So I stand here before you today letting you know that as long as I'm alive, I will make sure to fight to ensure that every person in our community has access to reproductive health care. Having founded the first Latinas for reproductive health care, having been there on the front lines, knowing that there are people that wake up every day to do away with Planned Parenthood, there's a whole bunch of us that are going to stand here every day to fight to protect a woman's right to choose, women's access to reproductive health care, and that no matter what your zip code, we're going to be here for you. So thank you. Thank you to all the people who wake up every day to make sure that women have access to reproductive health care. And even though it's been 2 years, we're not backing down. We're here. We're here for you, for the nurses, for the people who answer the phones, for the educators, for all my former staff. I love you. I appreciate you. And thank you for everything that you do, because there's no certificate. There's no certificate that can say thank you for everything. So I love you and thank you. Keep at it. And all I can do and say is today I proclaim 25th day of June, Planned Parenthood Day throughout the county. And if I could do more, I would. I love you guys. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. I'm not sure I can beat that. I should probably just walk away. Good morning. I'm Dara DeGiorgio Johnson, and I'm proud to be the president of Planned Parenthood of the Pacific Southwest. And it is a great privilege to be here today to accept this proclamation for Planned Parenthood Day in San Diego County on behalf of our organization. I stand with some remarkable staff and volunteers who joined me this morning, and we are truly grateful to Chairwoman Nora Vargas and the San Diego County Board of Supervisors for this honor, and for shining a light on our efforts to serve our communities with high quality and compassionate health care, with information they need and deserve. We're also extremely grateful for our staff, the remarkable staff who, as the chairwoman said, day in and day out, go to work every day offering exceptional care for patients who are simply seeking access to health care, sexual and reproductive health care, from STI testing and treatment to cancer screenings, well-person exams, abortion care, gender-affirming health care, and much more. It's because of this staff that we're able to serve nearly 130,000 patients across our 20 health centers. We're located in San Diego County, Riverside, and Imperial counties. The proclamation is particularly meaningful today, as the chairwoman stated, because yesterday we acknowledged the 2-year anniversary since the Supreme Court of this United States overturned Roe versus Wade, a decision that eliminated the federal constitutional right to safe and legal abortion after nearly 50 years of precedent. Last month, 21 states across the nation have either severely restricted or eliminated access to abortion entirely. It means that right now there are millions of people across this country who are not accessing the basic and timely health care they need in the state in which they live. To our patients, to our communities, to our supporters, please know that Planned Parenthood will always stand with you, and we will proudly continue to provide high-quality health care and education no matter what. We are fortunate to have strong reproductive rights champions across San Diego County who time and time again show us what it looks like for real elected champions to stand strong in support of our values so that we continue to take care of the patients and the communities who so need us. Our vision at Planned Parenthood of the Pacific Southwest is simple: to help build a world where sexual and reproductive rights are basic human rights, and where every person has the opportunity to choose their own path to a healthy and meaningful life. We will always support everyone's right to make their own decisions about their health, their lives, and their future. Thank you again to the amazing Chairwoman Nora Vargas for introducing the proclamation, and to your staff and all of your ongoing support, and to the rest of the members of the San Diego County Board of Supervisors for this great honor. We deeply appreciate it.
That's your first warning, by the way.
The second proclamation will be given by Vice Chair Lawson Remer, honoring She-Fest. Accepting the proclamation will be Jen LaBarbera.
Hello, guys. Today, I'd like to recognize She-Fest and the dedicated organizers who have hosted this event for over a decade. For those who are not aware, She-Fest is an annual event that includes workshops, vendors, community organizations, performers, and community building activities. All aspects of She-Fest's annual event center queer, women, non-binary people, and people who find community with these identities. But it's more than an annual event. She-Fest represents a decade of resilience, empowerment, and sheer brilliance. 10 years of breaking barriers, shattering stereotypes, and forging pathways to a more inclusive future. She-Fest is a testament to the strength and diversity that defines San Diego. From the bold activists who paved the way before us to the young trailblazers who are lighting the path ahead, every person involved adds their unique spark to our collective flame of progress. Our county supports LGBTQ+ rights, and today is a declaration that we will not be silenced, that we will not be held back by outdated norms, that we will continue to build a community where everyone, regardless of gender identity, can thrive. So here's to the next 10 years and beyond. Let's keep pushing boundaries, amplifying voices, and creating a world where equality is not just a dream, but it's a reality. Happy anniversary, SheFest. Thank you for being part of this incredible journey. So, be it proclaimed by all members of the San Diego County Board of Supervisors on this 25th day of June 2024 that we commend SheFest for their 10 years of dedication to uplifting queer women, non-binary people, and all those who find community amongst these identities, and do hereby declare July 13th, 2024 to be SheFest Day throughout San Diego County. Thank you. Someone want to say something?
I want to thank everyone in the County Board of Supervisors for this honor. I was part of the original group that started SheFest 10 years ago, which is crazy because I only feel 2 years older, but at its heart, SheFest is about connection. And as we see throughout our communities, connection is what is needed for healthy and vital societies. And so SheFest started with that aim, to create connection, to create community, to provide a place where everyone belongs. Over the course of the 10 years, I had very little to do with the growth of this event, so I'm going to pass it off to the people that did, but thank y'all.
Yeah, and a big thank you to Kelsey, because we wouldn't be here without her original vision and just belief that we could have a space that celebrates queer women and non-binary people and all who find community amongst our identities. My name is Jeanette, and I'm one of the current co-chairs with my co-chair Zaide right here. And I think I just wanted to say thank you for this proclamation. Very excited to be able to accept it today, and also say that it's really important how we say that SheFest is for queer women, non-binary people, and all who find community amongst these identities, because a really big part of what we do at SheFest is making sure that we're united against all those things that could divide us, right, and fighting oppression in all its forms, and using SheFest as a way to find community and celebration while we do that. So I'll pass it over to Zaide if you want to say anything.
Hello, my name is Saide, pronouns she or ella. I just wanted to say, collectively, yes, that is what SheFest is, but it's also a feeling, and I hope that y'all are able to come and experience that on July 13th. We're going to be at the Hillcrest Pride Flag, and we are going to have fun, have workshops, make connections, and just build a community. So hopefully you can come and experience that with us.
The third proclamation will also be given by Vice Chair Lawson Remer, honoring Alzheimer's Association. Accepting the proclamation will be Janet Hamady Kelly.
Are you doing this one too? Yes. Yeah. We're together on this photo. Yeah.
Proclamation will also be given by Supervisor Joel Anderson. My apologies.
I know, but I'd never like to challenge the clerk. I'm so, good morning, everybody. Welcome. Today, alongside my colleague, Supervisor Lawson Remer, we want to recognize Alzheimer's in Brain Awareness Month. This month is observed annually in the United States during the month of June and is meant to raise important awareness about Alzheimer's disease and promote brain health. During this month, we acknowledge and support those who are living with Alzheimer's and other related dementias, and we show our support for all those affected, including their families and caregivers. One of the ways we can show our support during this month is by wearing the color purple. the official color of the Alzheimer's movement. I'm very fortunate to have an organization, and there's many great organizations, but in my district, we have Noah's Homes in my district. Noah's Homes is a nonprofit residence that provides exceptional service and care to adults with intellectual developmental disabilities. As people age, they recognize the great need of that community, and they were the first provider to include memory care. This is a great step forward when addressing dementia, and Noah's Homes has shown exemplary leadership and dedication to compassionate care for those individuals with developmental disabilities who also suffer from Alzheimer's and other related dementias. For these reasons, I'm proud to present this proclamation honoring Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month in San Diego County. Now I'd like to introduce my colleague, Supervisor Lawson Reamer, because I know she has some insightful words to share.
Thank you, Supervisor Joel Anderson, for agreeing to join me in recognizing Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. We're taking time this morning to shine a light on a cause that affects the lives of thousands of individuals and families in our county and millions more across our country. Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month is an annual observance dedicated to raising awareness about Alzheimer's disease and promoting brain health. Currently, Alzheimer's stands as the 5th leading cause of death in our country. This harsh reality underscores the need for increased awareness to help combat this formidable disease. Within our community, the Alzheimer's Association San Diego Imperial County chapter plays a vital role. They provide care, support, advocacy, education, and resources for families in the San Diego region grappling with memory loss, Alzheimer's disease, and other forms of dementia. As we stand here today, we must acknowledge the staggering scope of Alzheimer's. More than 60,000 residents in San Diego County and over 6.5 million Americans nationwide are currently living with Alzheimer's. These individuals, along with their loved ones, face the tremendous challenges that come with this debilitating condition. But we can make a difference by driving research, raising awareness, and supporting organizations like the Alzheimer's Association so those affected by dementia receive the care, support, and understanding they deserve. Thank you to the Alzheimer's Association San Diego Imperial County chapter and all those involved for their extraordinary work. So, be it proclaimed by all members of the San Diego County Board of Supervisors on this 25th day of June 2024 that we commend the Alzheimer's Association for their outstanding service, leadership, and commitment to the citizens of San Diego County, and do hereby declare this month to be Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month throughout San Diego County.
Hello, I am Carrie Circa, a board member of the San Diego and Imperial County chapter of the Alzheimer's Association, and I've been active with the Alzheimer's Association since 2017. I lost my grandma, Millie, in 2011 to Alzheimer's, and it was the saddest thing. She suffered from it for about 15 years, and the grandma that taught me to take my teeth out, which I couldn't do, had lost her memory and didn't even remember who I was. And so I fight for this cause so that any families that go through this don't have to suffer through what my family went through. I currently work as a chief delivery officer for IntelliCare, where we place 50,000 caregivers in skilled nursing across the country. I am joined by Janet Hamada Kelly. She's the Executive Director of San Diego and Imperial County Chapter of the Alzheimer's Association, by Eric Thompson, Communications Director from the chapter, Zoe Bowles, Public Policy Manager from the chapter, and Jason Sparks and Travis Chrisman, fellow board members. We are also proud to be supported by our community partner, Mission Federal Credit Union Vice President, Director of Marketing, Sonia DeVore, and Public Relations and Community Officer, Cataline Duarte. Together, we are honored and grateful to accept on our chapter's behalf this proclamation from the County of San Diego, recognizing June as Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. As the county's proclamation notes, there are nearly 7 million aged 65 and over with the Alzheimer's disease. Data also shows that more than 75,000 of those Americans with Alzheimer's are residents of San Diego County. Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month was created to bring awareness and honor those individuals, as well as many more millions of friends and family members who are caregiving for someone with the disease. The Alzheimer's Association leads the way to end Alzheimer's and all other forms of dementia by accelerating global research, driving risk reduction and early detection, and maximizing quality care and support. Here in San Diego County, we support our community by conducting ongoing educational programs for caregivers and people who recently received an Alzheimer's diagnosis. We provide support groups and resources for family caregivers, fundraise for research initiatives that will improve existing treatment options and identify a cure. All of our activities have the goal of cultivating a community that is connected, resilient, and informed about navigating the many challenges posed by Alzheimer's and other dementia. I remember back to 2011 in the early days where my family brute forced through Alzheimer's with my grandma and tried to figure out how to handle a fall or her wanting to go and cook again on the stove. And I wish I would have known about the Alzheimer's Association back at that time. Thank you again to the San Diego County Board of Supervisors for your continued support and for recognizing June as Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. I am hopeful and confident that our collective efforts one day will soon end Alzheimer's together. Thank you. I'm sorry.
And the final proclamation will be presented by Supervisor Joel Anderson in honor of Douglas Benson. Accepting the proclamation will be Doug Benson and his family.
Doug and Peggy, why don't you stand over here so you don't get confused who you are. Again, good morning, everybody. Today we celebrate Doug Benson for his remarkable contributions to this county and our community of Alpine. Doug has been an exemplary member of Alpine for nearly his entire life, volunteering his time and treasure to a range of projects to lift his community and others throughout selfless service during his 50 years with the Alpine Kiwanis. In honor of his late son, Danny Benson, Doug created the Danny Benson Memorial Foundation Scholarship. Over the past 2 decades, this scholarship program has served countless youth by awarding scholarships to those pursuing careers in agriculture. Doug's also been instrumental in shaping Alpine's civic infrastructure, contributing heavily to projects such as the Veterans Wall of Honor and the Alpine American Little League. Above all else, Doug is best known for being an outstanding father to his children, Doug Jr., Mickey, Lynn, and Danny. Doug's also an incredible grandfather to his 6 grandchildren and 8 great-grandchildren. And, you know, in every community, there's always a couple pillars that nobody notices or sees, and they're the ones that make sure that no child is left behind and that everybody in the community is cared for. The Benson clan is that family in Alpine, and Doug, as the father of the clan, has done an incredible job. I'd like to read now the proclamation, and I'm going to give this to you to hold. But this last line says, "Be it proclaimed by Chairwoman Nora Vargas and all the members of the San Diego County Board of Supervisors on this 25th day of June 2024 that they commend Doug Benson, or Douglas Benson, I never call him that, so it's hard for me, for his outstanding service, leadership, and commitment, and do hereby declare this to be Doug Benson Day throughout San Diego County." And I'd just like to point out, a lot of times when people get this, it's 9 o'clock at night, but today I expect you to make great use of your day to having such an early start. Doug and Peggy, would you like to say a word?
You know, they say, I'll paraphrase a little bit, behind every great man is a pushy woman, and in this case, a loudmouth one. While Doug was in Kiwanis, anytime he was presented with this kind of recognition, this is what happens. He has tears and he can't cry, so I forgot his crying towel that was made for him while he was in Kiwanis. But Supervisor Anderson and board, we as a family are very grateful for this recognition. We know how wonderful he is, and we're so pleased that other people recognize it as well. Thank you so very much on behalf of Doug and all of us here. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
We'll now proceed with non-agenda public comment. This is an opportunity for the public to address the board on subject matters within the board's jurisdiction, but not an item on today's agenda. The only action that the board may take is a referral to the Chief Administrative Officer. As a reminder, according to Rule 4A, members of the public that are non-English speaking and need interpretation assistance will get twice the allotted time for their comments, which is 4 minutes. Also, as a reminder, according to the board's rules of procedure, audience members shall not whistle, clap, stomp feet, or anything that disrupts the proceedings. To better facilitate the meeting, we will have 5 speakers in person, 5 speakers by phone, and the rest of non-agenda public comment will be heard at the conclusion of today's session. Chairwoman Vargas, we have 40 requests to speak on matters not listed on the agenda, 17 in person and 23 requesting to speak by phone. For those that requested to speak by phone, please dial into the conference line using the instructions that were provided to you. We'll begin with the in-person speakers. As your name is called, please come forward and stand against the east wall under the murals until it is your turn to speak. Again, we'll be calling the first 5 speakers. I'd like to invite forward Elizabeth Jacob Lee, Michelle W., Mark, Caroline Heatherly, and Jackson Kingsbury. If I've called your name, please come forward. You'll have 2 minutes to address the board. I'll ask you to please state your name for the audio record.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Jacobelli. I am a voting constituent in District 4, and I am very concerned for the well-being of the horses on Artesian Road. Why is the county aiding and abetting in animal cruelty? Supervisor Steep. Supervisor Steep, why are you not doing anything about this? I am a constituent, and I will not continue to vote for someone that is pro and for animal abuse. Thank you, Supervisor Desmond, for speaking up against equine neglect. We demand a presentation and transparency to the public as to why Public Safety Group refuses to remove the horses on Artesian Road who are currently being neglected. Why is Public Safety Group not submitting a case to the District Attorney's Office of the death of the emaciated horse that died last year in March 2023? And the horse that died this year, January 2024, from colic, severe abdominal pain, the horse suffered, which is exultingly painful. This is unacceptable. And clearly the lives of these horses mean nothing to the CAO and the Public Safety Group. Los Angeles Alliance for Animal alleges that an animal control officer responded but did not immediately euthanize the horses.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time, and
Thank you. Your time is up. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Okay, I don't have to repeat the stuff that Liz said. I'm wondering why Tara Lawson-Remmer.
Can you please state your name?
My name is Michelle, voting District 4, and I vote for people that are for animals, not animal abuse. I'm wondering why Supervisor Tara Lawson-Remmer is not taking animal abuse seriously and not removing these horses from Artesian Road. Yes, Tara, I'm talking about you and you're still looking down. Isn't that amazing? She doesn't even listen to me. Why is District Attorney Summer Stephan not protecting Deborah Barkley for criminal animal abuse? Is it because of money? Is this a money issue? The horses are suffering for the past several years. This must stop. And Holly Porter, are you Holly Porter? Why are you complicit in animal abuse? Why? Why is everybody neglecting to see what is going on Artesian Road? I'm asking immediately, remove the horses from this ranch. Have them emaciated, the horses are emaciated, and they died in 2023, and another one just died this year. And please submit this to District Attorney Summer Stephan for animal cruelty. I don't know, Tara's still looking down, so she must not be really interested in what I have to say. So I don't know what's going on, Tara. Why is Public Safety Groups refusing to remove these neglected horses? San Diego County of Animal Services is failing the animals. It is because of the money involved with Deborah Barkley and Craig Netwig is why there is no transparency.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Thank you, Tara, for still looking down.
Just a reminder, we have guidelines about civility in the chamber. If you can't follow those guidelines, we're going to be asking you to be removed, so that's your first warning. Go ahead.
My name is Jackson. I'm voting district number 3, and my ask is that we immediately remove the horses from Artesian Road and have the emancipated horses that have died in March 2023 and the horse that has died this year in January 2024, and submit to District Attorney Summer Stefan for criminal animal cruelty. And as a constituent in your district, District Number 3, Tara Reamer, I will not vote for you. And I can't see how people can vote for you, considering how you have neglected to look into this case. And you're not taking animal abuse seriously. That's why I'm taking time out of my schedule to speak here. And these are neglected horses, and animal abuse is illegal. And yet, these horses, emancipated horses, are dying in this property owned by Deborah Barkley and Greg Newton. And I urge you all to consider animal sanctuaries. My mother and I, she's going to speak right now. We help out animal sanctuaries. These horses could easily be transferred over to these places where they can live out the rest of their lives in peace, rather than be seen as mere profit or entertainment or what have you. This is a serious issue, and I urge you all to put yourself in the situation of these animals, and I doubt any of you would appreciate to be used as anything other than just having the ability to live in peace. So just please do what's right and what is humane, and try not to see money signs. And thank you for listening.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is Carolina Roberts, and I am in District 3. I'm an animal rights activist. Recently, animal advocates have, not recently, for the past year, they have been witnessing horses that are living in filthy conditions with no adequate shelter against the harsh winter or the hot summer. And their bones are protruding due to lack of adequate food, and their feet are caked in manure. This is unacceptable. They are eating moldy hay, and they are being denied veterinary care. My ask is that you immediately remove these horses, and they're sentient beings. They have feelings just like you and me. They do not deserve this. And they are to be sent to animal sanctuaries. Please. They are locked in stalls, and they rarely get out. Why are you allowing this neglect to happen? Why? Please remove these horses and send them to the sanctuary. District Attorney Summer Stephen, we are calling you out for animal cruelty. As we speak, these beautiful sentient beings are out in record-breaking temperatures with no adequate protection. I repeat, no protection against the elements. Why are you allowing this to happen? This is inhumane and unacceptable. If you wouldn't do it to your beautiful baby or your pets, why would you do it to any other sentient being? Please have a heart and send these animals to a sanctuary where they belong. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Mark, these videos will give people an idea of what's going on. I'm not right or left in neither of these videos. Everybody would agree and want to stop this if they knew about it. So see these YouTube titles. Rosa Corey's video from 3 minutes and 40 seconds. She was a California expert court witness who knows to Agenda 21 being done in our government, and she goes into great detail on it in parts 1, 2, and 3. This video, your fifth grader could learn in 15 minutes how the Federal Reserve Bank works and the corruption and how it's totally causing inflation intentionally. Start at 6 minutes and 40 seconds and go to 24 minutes. This one, Corporation Nation, they've invested us, our grandparents, our parents' tax dollars for generations, and since 1913, and they own controlling interest in many Fortune 500 companies and pretty much everything around you. And they're never going to tell you about it or share it with you. It's in a separate account from the budget. You can see that. That's the general idea of that. It's a very long video. Goodbye, American sovereignty. Hello, USMCA. Trump signed the USMCA to replace NAFTA. Trump signed it. Biden did not rescind it. And it handed control over trade and immigration to a foreign unelected council. We only have one American member on who's not elected by any of us. Furthermore, the president doesn't even have the authority or Congress to sign away his powers to anyone else. And Klaus Schwab, in the first minute and 20 seconds of this video, he literally states that he's infiltrated governments, including half of Canada. So this is Sandag working with the UN. Nor is also the chair of that. And I've got 8 seconds left to say that the $110 million that our mayor is going to spend on housing, we could.
Thank you. Your time is up. Now we'll hear from those that requested to speak by phone. Again, we'll be hearing from the first 5 callers. The remaining callers will be heard at the conclusion of today's session. When it is your turn to speak, you will be unmuted and you will hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments after the beep. I'll remind the callers they should mute their TV or live video stream before they begin speaking. We'll start with our first caller.
All about. Glad you got your voice back, Nora. Don't lose it by stressing and yelling. The California Constitution goes a bit farther than the U.S. Constitution. Article 1, Section 1 says that all people have inalienable rights, such as enjoying and defending life and liberty, acquiring, possessing, and protecting property, and pursuing and obtaining safety, happiness, and privacy, which includes their fundamental right to choose to have an abortion and their fundamental right to choose or refuse contraceptives. When you propose to limit these rights, you are skirting the law. Section 3 says the people have a right to instruct their representatives, petition government for redress of grievances, and assemble freely to consult for the common good. Each local agency is hereby required to comply with the California Public Records Act and the Ralph M. Brown Act. Section 7 says a person may not be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law or denied equal protection of laws, which rules out a lot of the equity stuff you impose. Says a citizen or a class of citizens may not be granted privileges or immunities not granted on the same terms to all citizens. Good reading. Hopefully this civics lesson will teach you a bit of respect for the people of this county. And by the way, I agree. You know, you really, really, really need at this time to do something about the horses. And, yeah, I agree that you're protecting them because...
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
My name is Sandra Bell. It has recently come to my attention that there is severe neglect, suffering, and death of horses on a property in San Diego. This cruel situation has long been reported to the proper agencies, but nothing whatsoever is being done, and the perpetrators are allowed to continue starving and neglecting penned-up horses on that property. I saw the video of a dead skeletal horse and also one writhing on the ground dying of colic, and I'm appalled and angry. I'm asking for immediate action by authorities to rescue the remaining horses and prosecute the culprits. I don't see how this has gone on so long. I don't see how these pictures and these videos can be looked at and not seen as a horrid crime. It's outrageous, and it's unacceptable, and it needs to stop. Rescue those horses now. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
Hello there. My name is Christina Koo. I am an attorney in California, and I am thrilled to see that the San Diego County Supervisors have taken the time to value groups like Parenthood and SheFest. As an attorney, I was motivated to help those most vulnerable, and those folks in all kinds of walks of life and beliefs and genders deserve protection, just as I have expanded my practice to also include those with the least amount of voice, which are animals. I have made the connection that if I am going to have compassion and protect all those who are most vulnerable in our communities, it must include animals. And I've heard speakers speak very much in detail with facts and compassion over the issue of the horses, which I absolutely strongly support. And I have personally seen videos and photos, which I'm sure everyone has, but I am very thrilled to see that the invocation included words of compassion and vulnerability. And I think the supervisors on your board have so much power to really embrace this concept and include animals, wildlife, nature, and our planet. And I strongly urge everyone to look into this aspect of expanding this compassion to include animals and wildlife, and especially these horses that are in your county. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Hey, it's Jim. A few points. First of all, you were 8 minutes late. Of course, that's 80 push-ups, which is 350 over the past couple of months. Get on it. Nora's call for applause breaks the rules for thee. And Planned Parenthood, you may get more respect if you talked about babies. Talk about babies sometime. So I call in today as your basic reminder that all of those who have come to present before you, Mark, Michael, Audra, Truth, Consuelo, Kara, Jeff, Luke, one called Oliver Twist, have brought to you their perception, their research, and the facts. You have heard of Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, geoengineering, the treasonous actions of the UN. You have heard the detailed on-the-ground reporting of Luke and Audra regarding an open border that has created immeasurable atrocities in the realm of human trafficking, sexual abuse, murder, and foreign enemy armies. The call right now is a basic reminder that all of those who have come to present before you have all brought clear warnings about a potential devastating future. If that future does come, let it be put on record that this will be documented to show how you ignored the speakers, you bypassed the warnings, and you failed us all. Whereas your failures will be on wide display for all to see, the good news is that the citizens are becoming more and more aware of the atrocities, despite your lack of attention or action. The good news is whatever agenda is being driven presently will ultimately fail. The good news is we as a nation will not be destroyed or enslaved, but will rather build a better world. The best news is we can dispel with the latest meme of it's going to get worse before it gets better, and replace it with, as Michael has posed in his recent video, an answer to the question, how good can it get? How good can it get? The people will show the way, whether you listen to them and take their warning.
Thank you. Now hear from the final caller this morning.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Kathleen Lippett. I chose public health promotion and research to advocate to reduce the human suffering from the ravages of drug abuse and addiction to individuals and their loved ones. It is beyond troubling to recognize policies that are known to be ineffective but paradoxical, fueling problems instead of preventing, mitigating, or solving them. Sandag's most recent data on juvenile arrestees shows why the outcomes of your policies are headed in the wrong direction. 91% of juvenile arrestees have tried marijuana, alcohol, and tobacco, with marijuana first, most frequent, and most recently used drug. Why? Because they report it's very, very easy to obtain, because they perceive it as safe, because the county legitimizes and supports marijuana businesses, and because all regulations and oversight promised to voters with Prop 64 were empty, and because prevention has been replaced by harm reduction. Nearly 9 in 10 report vaping. The flavored nicotine products that have been banned continue to be sold in smoke shops because the county doesn't do minor decoys or assessments. Support policies that increase marijuana use. It is beyond time to dissolve the county's partnership with the marijuana industry. Time to stop the specious use of equity or the war on drugs to justify growing it. Time to stop conferring unearned privileges to this industry. Time to put your endorsement of brain awareness in practice by protecting the human brain and preventing the drugs that harm it, like marijuana. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you. And Chairwoman Vargas, that concludes the request for non-agenda public communication this morning. Again, all the remaining speakers will be heard at the conclusion of today's session.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And before we move on, I want to just take a minute and welcome. Today is a historic day for the County of San Diego, and I want to welcome our newest CAO, our Chief Administrative Officer, Ebony Shelton, officially. She did hit the ground running on June 14th, but I wanted to take this moment to say, welcome her to the dais. So let's give her, we're going to break the rules a little and just give her a big round of applause and thank her to welcome her to the dais. And I just want to say that it was really wonderful to see your beautiful family here with us on the day that you agreed to officially take the job when we took the vote unanimously. And for me, it's a very special moment, not only because it's a historic moment today, but also because you are, I think, a CAO that not only represents our community, you are from our community, you are someone who is not only understands the region, the ins and outs of the County of San Diego, but you have the corazon to lead the 20,000 plus employees of the County of San Diego, but you understand really what this board really wants as we move forward, which is to make sure that our employees are treated well, that they are treated with compassion and with love, and that we do the best for our constituents, and we're trying to figure out how we mesh that while at the same time being very fiscally prudent and doing the best that we can with the resources that we can as we move forward. And who else to do it well than one of the smartest people that I've met in this county. And so I'm super excited for you to be able to do that. And so happy that you're here with us. And so I'll turn it over to you to say a couple of words, and so happy to have you here next to us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. I am honored to address you all this morning as the newly appointed Chief Administrative Officer for the County of San Diego. I have a great sense of enthusiasm as well as a deep sense of responsibility as I step into this role. The board has trusted me with the task of guiding this county forward towards a future that's filled with promise and opportunity for everyone. First and foremost, I would like to express my gratitude to the county team for your dedication to public service and your commitment to the well-being of our community. Your expertise and passion for public service are what keep me grounded. You're the backbone of this organization, and your dedication to excellence is what sets us apart. So thank you. To the honorable members of the board, I'm eager to partner with you and implement policies that reflect the needs and aspirations of your constituents. Your guidance and your wisdom will be invaluable as we navigate complex issues and prepare to make decisions that impact our communities, so I thank you in advance. As we embark on this journey together, my priorities will be to foster transparency, community engagement, and excellence in all that we do. I believe in the power of teamwork. Those of you who know me know that very well as inclusive decision-making where every voice has the opportunity to be heard. Together, we're going to tackle challenges, and we're going to capitalize on opportunities, and we're going to ensure that we're strengthening communities with innovative, inclusive, and data-driven services through a skilled and competent workforce. So I just want to thank everyone again for the very warm welcome and reception here, and for the opportunity to serve as the Chief Administrative Officer of this county. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of Chairwoman Vargas, the next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes and statement of proceedings for the regular Board of Supervisors meeting of June 4th, 2024, budget hearings on June 4th, 2024, and June 6th, 2024, in-home supportive services public authority meeting on June 4th, 2024, and redevelopment successor agency meeting on June 9th, 2024. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Chairwoman Vargas. Please vote. Chairwoman Vargas, that motion passes unanimously with all supervisors who are present voting aye.
All right, we will now proceed with the formation of the consent calendars. Item number 1 through 7, members of the public will be able to comment on the consent calendar. After supervisors pull any items they would like for discussion, would any of my colleagues like to pull any items for discussion? Supervisor Anderson? Vice Chair Lawson-Memer?
No items to pull. No items to pull, but I just want to make a comment on item 4. I think it's great. This is a great program. I know that we've provided nearly $12 million for affordable home buyers and first-time home purchasers over the past 5 years, and just excited to see us able to increase this program, and wanted to uplift that we're going to be able to help an additional 25 families to become first-time home buyers. So this is just wonderful, and thank you.
Supervisor Montgomery Stepp?
Nothing to pull at this time, thank you.
Okay. And I don't have any items to pull. I just wanted to make a couple comments on item number 5. I am very proud to be able to allocate some funding for item number 5, which is 2 different projects, particularly in Spring Valley and in the Tijuana River Valley. I think most of you have heard me speak about the fact that these particular projects, we have going to be able to maintain portable restrooms in the Tijuana River Valley, and it's really sad to say that in certain communities, because of the particular zip codes, our communities don't have access. And so I am excited that we're going to be able to provide these amenities. It shouldn't have to be this way, but I'm glad that we're going to be able to allocate these dollars. And so I appreciate if my colleagues are able to support these items so that we can make sure that our communities are able to have equity in these communities. And so with that, I'm happy to make a motion to support the consent calendar. And with that, I'm happy to turn it over to public comment.
Thank you. Is there a second for the consent calendar? Second. Thank you. Second by Supervisor Montgomery Stepp. We'll now proceed with individuals that requested to speak on items on the consent calendar. We have 15 requests to speak, 4 in person and 11 requesting to speak by phone. Any individuals that requested to speak on the consent calendar by phone, please dial into the conference line using the instructions that were provided to you. We'll begin with the in-person speakers. As your name is called, please come forward and stand against the east wall under the murals until it's your turn to speak. We'll begin with the speaker in favor of the consent items, Alice De La Torre, followed by Mark, allegedly Audra, and Hermes. We'll ask you to please keep your comments to the content of the consent calendar. Please identify which item on the consent calendar you're speaking on. You'll have 2 minutes to address the board, and I'll ask you to please state your name for the audio record. You're welcome to come forward in any order.
Good morning, San Diego Board of Supervisors and Nora Vargas. My name is Alice Delatorre. I'm the proud member of the San Isidro Women's Club. I'm a retired assistant superintendent of the San Isidro School District. And I come before you to strongly support the transfer of funds from the District 1 office budget to the Department of Parks and Rec. This transfer is critical since there are well over 10,000 students who need some healthy type of recreation. Since IB Beach is polluted and the air quality is at its lowest point, these funds will help to provide much-needed improvement to our local parks and will promote the healthy lifestyle of our young people. And it will greatly benefit our community that has long been forgotten by improving the quality of our public spaces. I urge you to approve the policy to transfer funds to the Department of Parks and Rec for the betterment of our community and the 10,000 students that live in San Isidro and the 30,000 people that reside there. So please continue your good work, and thank you, Nora, for all you've done for San Isidro. We very much appreciate your efforts. Thank you. Mil gracias.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is Marta Jacobo.
Marta, I don't have a speaker slip for you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you did. I'm sorry. I thought you mentioned my name.
No, I have speaker slips for Mark, allegedly Audra, and Hermes.
Okay, Marta,
Thank you. Next speaker.
Mark, number 4. As California expert in eminent domain, land use, and property valuation, Rosa Corey states in this YouTube video title, you can start 3 minutes and 40 seconds, this is part of a UN Agenda 21 plan to destroy our housing and economy. This board is transferring our public land into their corporation. We are coerced into changing our land use documents to change our sovereign government or not receive state funding. Or federal for that matter. Building mixed-use housing and subsidizing 2/3 of low-income rents with our taxes for an ever-increasing number of impoverished citizens is unsustainable. Impoverished by the intentional inflation government creates through its corrupt banking. See this video from 6 minutes, 40 seconds to 24 minutes to understand. Todd Gloria is spending $110 million in the next 3 years to have 1,000 beds for homeless people. For $120 million, you supervisors could kill 2 birds with 1 stone by 3D printing 10 by 40-foot homes with a razor-sharp back wall, cheap cameras, and motion sensors along our 90-mile southern border, which could house almost 12,000 people, including 7 Border Patrol agents' families who could immediately dispatch 63 more agents within a 5-mile radius, or the military. Almost 12,000 housed, not 1,000 beds, while controlling our border from the inexcusable fentanyl deaths, murders, and rapes you see in these news titles. I don't have the news titles here right now. Major Todd wants taxpayers to pay almost $2 million per year leasing a building for 35 years that cost the owner about $13 million. It'd be paid off in about 7 years in pure profit for him. What a scam. This is totally incompetent and corrupt, considering we could have housed almost 12,000 and stopped the open border murders, rapes, and drug deaths. I've told you supervisors this plan many times. Why haven't you saved our...
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hermes here. Sometimes I don't know what the best thing for me to do is. So, discussing these items and the way we're spending money and trying to go ahead and fulfill a real-life mouse utopia experiment, I don't understand what the heck we're doing. We have more people leaving San Diego than ever before. We are building housing units in people's yards that have no parking. So what is this a real goal of? Piss us off to the point that all of us stop driving and then you get what you want? Or do you think something else is going to happen? People are going to get pissed off. People are going to start road raging. These kinds of events take place all the fucking time. And I don't understand why you guys keep on fucking up the streets, intentionally increasing traffic, intentionally. And I could point that out in several different locations. And I bet you many, many people could go ahead and do the same thing. This is intentional. You guys are trying to force us out of cars for no bullshit reason when we can go ahead and turn plastic into gasoline. We could turn the byproduct into fertilizer. Look it up. There's a dude doing it right now. Yet none of you guys want to go ahead and actually tackle the problem. Go ahead and handle all this stuff. No, we want to go ahead and tear up mountains, destroy countries to get this precious resource. Well, meanwhile, we're not using any friggin' oil. We're not fucking up the country. We're not doing that to ours, but we're doing it to every other country. And none of us have a problem with that? Bullshit.
Next speaker, please.
My person uses the name Audra. So if number 2 is a secured hospital ward for you guys, I'm totally for it. It would be fantastic. If it's for anybody else, no. And then HHS and this whole California Department of Healthcare Services, it is actually misnamed. It should say Death Care Services. And HHS is one of the biggest human traffickers. They actually traffic the unaccompanied minors that come across the border. Yeah, and they, send them off to have their organs harvested, to have them be tortured for adrenochrome, and then, also be raped over and over, probably in every orifice of their body. But, you guys condone that, so good on you. There's a special place in hell for you. And anytime you're trying to produce housing, it's never affordable. None of it is. And you sit here and you virtue signal like you're actually going to make things better for people, but people are suffering, and this is just a bunch of busy work. And the fact that you want to put a park right where there's sewage, how smart is that? Right? Oh my gosh, isn't that great to have kids go have their health just be, or I guess maybe they're resilient because, their immune systems are super strong at that time, so they can really deal with all of the sewage and stuff where you want to give people humidifiers and all this stuff. It's interesting to see the things that you guys engage in, but especially the human trafficking and the disappearance of children through HHS. It happens through CPS and foster care. And here we are having all of these children come across the border unaccompanied just so they can disappear, right? Because it's interesting finding their birth certificates dropped off at the border wall. Gosh, you don't need that if you're seeking asylum, right? But you do if you need to disappear.
And for the record, HHSA is not involved in human trafficking, and there is a park already in the Tijuana River Valley, and it is not next to the sewage. Go ahead.
Okay, we'll now hear from those that requested to speak by phone. When it is your turn to speak, you'll be unmuted and you'll hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments after the beep. Or remind the callers they should mute their TV or live video stream before they begin speaking. We will start with our first caller.
Follow. I'm going to touch base on a little bit of all of them. It's very unfortunate what's happening regarding the homes, sewage, all of it. You have money for things, and you say you're going to protect Planned Parenthood and the killing of babies until your last breath. All of them, I said. Stop interrupting me.
No, what item are you speaking to?
I'm speaking on all of them. Get it?
No, what item are you?
And you're the chair, and you're the chair, and you don't understand that I'm speaking on all of them.
Please tell me what item you're speaking to.
I'm speaking on all of them.
Okay.
You read them. Okay? You're so threatened. You are so threatened with people speaking the truth. You hate it. You hate it so much, and you're so fearful. That's why you have, and you're wasting money on.
If you don't speak on the item, we're going to go ahead and turn off your mic, ma'am. I'm done. Go ahead. Next person, please.
Well, now,
Yeah.
now hear from the next caller.
Okay.
Hello, this is Catherine Rhodes, and I'm talking about item 7, communications received, specifically CR 17, which is the report back on the initial site review related to making county land available for emergency homeless shelter solutions. So this has been going on at least 3 years, and I'm so disappointed you only found one property, one property. That's literally not good enough. And there's so much wrong things here in this opinion, report. It's only 3 pages. I believe you need a legal opinion, and I'm asking for this to be sent to county council so they can give you the legal opinion and give you information. The first thing you need to have the legal opinion is that CEQA or discretionary permits are not required for homeless shelter because we have the shelter crisis declaration. You've already opened a fund shelter with no CEQA and no discretionary permits already in the Midway area. So it's not true. What you have here in your report is not true. The shelter crisis gets rid of CEQA in public hearings for homeless. With the shelter crisis declarations, no discretionary permits are needed. CEQA in public meetings are not required for the existing structure. You need money. You have $40 million in successor agency to the redevelopment agency in the 1992 DCDC agreement for cooperation that Ron Roberts actually voted on, and then he used that money to build the waterfront park and the Little League parking structure. Everybody in all the different things for homeless, all the churches, all the nonprofits says we need to have at least 1 year of operation cost. And instead of bringing you that they need not just the tiny homes, but they need the operation cost for a year. Otherwise, no churches, nonprofits can afford to take all these homeless people. But if you give them operation costs, they will. They want to. We're so desperate for it. And your staff was supposed to come before you and say that you could. Now they threw in the line. You might look into.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Paul Bold, 2. National City is not a good location for a secured hospital ward if, as you say, you want to serve the South County area. Something more central to South County is needed, like Chula Vista, Nestor, maybe even part of Otay, but something then a few blocks away from San Diego. Of course, there's no map. Don't tell anyone where the hospital is. Again, patient reviews are bad. 2.5 on Yelp, and employee reviews are only middling. Overcrowded, dirty ER, patients released before they are recovered. The state CDPH has penalized the hospital twice in the last 3 years. Sounds like another contract with a lousy provider like the Exodus contract you approved last time. Don't know what's going on with HHSA. 5. You want to transfer $125,000 for restrooms at Sweetwater Bike Park? Not sure why these are supplemental. Was it not considered in the original funding that people that might need to pee or poo? Sweetwater Bike Park, though, sounds fun and a good idea. TJ River Park, on the other hand, is a big no. You're calling for medical and pollution assessments right here in today's agenda. The sewage problem is out of control. We're not ready to establish or fund a park, let alone a gateway. Although, I must note for the record that in Turkey, they have a place known as the Gateway to Hell, which is basically a temple to the god of the underworld built over a pit of toxic fumes. Maybe this is what you need to install as a physical reminder of the dangers of sewage.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. My name is Calvin Barrios. I'm calling on behalf of the Laborers Union Local 89 on the consent agenda on the appointments, we're calling in support of the appointment of Clayton Lackey from the Carlsbad Jet Center to serve as the business interest seat to the Palomar Airport Advisory Commission. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
It's truth. Item 1, sliding glass doors worth $10,000 from Silvana and Randall Meeks for the sheriff's Rentita substation gym is a great donation. Only question. This item refers to the doors in the past tense. Is this an approval after the fact? Is that legal? Item 2, almost $1 million to Prime Healthcare Paradise Valley LLC can build a ward, so there's another hospital to send inmates to. Since so many inmates are dying due to lack of proper medical attention, I'm suspicious on whether this additional ward will actually help, especially because the scam known as behavioral health translates to calling people crazy, locking them up, and putting them on drugs like we're still in the eugenics era. Inmates currently get sent to Tri-City and Oceanside, despite the fact that Tri-City's operating room director, Gary Johnson, was accused of burglary and attempting to sexually assault a staffer at her home. Great pass. Item 3, if this $98.4 million money funneled from and back to the state and HSA is for Medi-Cal recipients to be locked up in BS Director Bergman's behavioral health prison day spas, or to be caged in at Crazy Edgemore, I'm against it. Item 4, a $75 fee on real estate documents so the state can have a trust fund to go towards homes they prefer and where they prefer, dictated to the county. $11.8 million for stack and pack for rent. There's allegedly an amendment to give out taxpayer money to a select few towards a down payment on an ADU, an overpriced box, not a real house. Item 5, Nora's doling out $125,000 for a restroom at the Sweetwater Bike Park and another $125,000 for the 2 on River Valley Park. Nothing to do with equity. It's just taxpayer money finally going towards the types of things people actually want. Item 6, note of Paul Dostart to the Board of Retirement. Lawyer Paul was involved with an audit, given a Rockefeller Public Service Award, and maybe that's why in 2018, when he was on the Sandak Audit Committee, he didn't seem to dig deep enough on the corruption numbers. Paul also co-founded biotech company Q3DM, which worked with Novartis and had a grant from NIH to develop 3D cell imaging for 3D artificial livers. And note of Clayton Lackey to the Palomar Airport Advisory Committee seems to have conflicts of interest, being the manager at Cinema Aviation and with Carl's.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. This is Ann Riddle. I called in today to lend my support to consent item 3. On the face of it, it's sort of an automatic thank you, if you will, that federal money, that is Medicaid, comes to California in the form of Medi-Cal. And I understand here in our county that a third of our citizens take advantage of Medi-Cal. And particularly this item 3 identifies a group of concern that is important to me, and that's foster care children, those in foster care and those post-foster care, and that the acceptance of this money will be a commitment to our Live Well San Diego vision of healthy, safe, and thriving communities. I just want to mention that our Live Well San Diego vision includes 3 things: improved nutrition, increased physical activity, and the prevention of smoking, which I might add, vaping. And so I'm concerned that we recognize the role that products that are smoked and vaped produce in causing the leading cause of death and preventable disease, not only here in San Diego County, but this country. And so I continue concern for any expansion of smoking and vaping businesses like marijuana businesses and tobacco storefronts. We really don't think here in the backcountry that increasing the number of marijuana businesses and tobacco businesses out here really is in the best interest of the county's Live Well vision. Thank you.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Hello, Chair Vargas and the members of the board.
I, Ross Gourdy, a colleague of Clayton Lakey at Palomar Airport. I am the CEO of Premier Air Charter, and I'm here to express my strong support for his appointment to the Palomar Airport Advisory Committee. Clayton has a proven track record of dedication and expertise in aviation. His insights and innovation ideas have significantly benefited our operations, and I'm confident that his contributions to the committee will be equally impactful. He possesses the knowledge and vision needed to address the challenges and opportunities facing Palomar Airport. Please consider his appointment for the betterment of our airport and community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Good morning, Chair Vargas, members of the board, and supervisors. My name is Rick Mosteller, and I am the president of Palomar Aviation, a flight training company here at Palomar Airport. I have the pleasure of working alongside Mr. Clayton Lackey at Palomar Airport and wholeheartedly support his appointment to the Palomar Airport Advisory Committee. His extensive experience in aviation, his deep understanding of our airport's operations make him an invaluable asset. He has consistently demonstrated a commitment to enhancing the airport's economic viability and improving its services for the community. His appointment will undoubtedly contribute to the continued success of Palomar Airport. Thank you.
Thank you. And Chairwoman Vargas, that concludes the request for comment on items on the consent calendar.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Chairwoman Vargas, that motion passes unanimously with all supervisors who are present voting aye. First item for discussion will be agenda item number 8, entitled Rescind Board Actions from March 12, 2024, item 18, related to Hamishaw sleeping cabins and exploring other sites for homeless solutions in the Spring Valley area.
All right, so before I turn it over to the public, I want to make some comments. And as we're talking about equity, I think it's important to really have this conversation. And it strikes me that as, you know, we're talking about, and first I want to say thank you to my colleagues for voting for us to be able to provide the resources to ensure that our youth, particularly youth, because the bathrooms will be accessible to everybody in the Tijuana River Valley, and know that the bathrooms are not going to be in the sewage, as people have said. I always find it interesting that some of the times when people are speaking, they've actually never even been to the locations, and that's what I have found. Particularly on this issue, I would hope that folks that are making comments and having conversations about what's happening in Hamishaw Road, I invite you to actually come and see where this location was going to be. And I want you to know that the folks who have come before us and the community members from Hamishaw Road, particularly Spring Valley, from my district, are wonderful human beings, and they know they are not NIMBYs. They are not people who don't believe that homeless folks and people who are in shelter should not have shelter. They actually have had conversations with me, even when I was unable to speak. They have met with me and have had conversations, and they're lovely people who want to find solutions for their community. However, I think that we as a board made some decisions, and the reason why I'm bringing this forward to you today and asking that we rescind a previous board action of the sleeping cabins is because although I think that as, you know, one of my top priorities has been to address this homeless crisis here in San Diego County, and it continues to be an issue that requires all hands on deck, right? State, county, and city leaders working together, and I'm very grateful to Governor Newsom for the work that he has done and the leadership that has taken, and we know that it's going to take the work that we're doing around behavioral health, the work that we're doing around homeless solutions, and, you know, I was the person that declared homelessness a public health care crisis, and this board has done amazing work, and this our homeless solution team has done amazing work. In the case of the Hamishaw Road project, the concerns of our local residents, I think, once we took a deeper drive, really, I think I heard them loud and clear. And the fact is that we took this vote in March, and after listening to them and going down there and visiting them, and looking at the numbers, there's 129, according to the point in time count, 129 folks that are unsheltered that have been identified in Spring Valley. And as we look at finding both temporary and permanent housing, and we know that there's 5,000 unhoused people throughout San Diego County, I think it's important that we think about, this particular location where there's working families who reside, and that as we're thinking about where these sites where these homeless solutions are going to be sited, it can't just be where working families are. And let me be clear, right? The only site that was proposed for the sleeping cabins project in San Diego County was in my district in this particular area, and it's a working class community. It's a community like mine. And addressing the homeless crisis is a shared responsibility that should not be taken on alone by any one community, and I think we can all agree to that. I think the residents of Spring Valley shouldn't be expected to carry responsibility that is also shared by the residents of any other neighborhoods in San Diego. The residents of Spring Valley made their concerns heard loud and clear about building sleeping cabins in the heart of existing neighborhoods where families live and parks and schools where children learn and play. And after hearing the community concerns, I personally visited the neighborhood where the proposed project would have been built. And it's very clear that this was not going to be a positive step for either the existing neighborhood or for the unhoused population it was intended to serve. Our constituents invited me into their home to see firsthand how this project directly impacts their families. Particularly one of our UDW members invited me to their home, and then I was able to see exactly where everything was going to be. And so her childcare business and many of her neighbors really rely and the support of their families. And so they've created a very beautiful environment where their children can play and play outdoors in their backyard. And the project that we were proposing was going to really be up against their backyard, and the separation is a chain link fence. And to me, I think that it's a little bit short-sighted and not really what is best in the best interest of their home. And so I think we can do better. I think that we can't, do this to them right now, and it's not what we need to do. And so I think everyone on this board understands that we have a shared responsibility to make sure that we have solutions for our shelter population in this crisis, and that there's our community-oriented solutions, and this particular one is not going to work for us. I think we all must take responsibility. I take responsibility as well. This looked like a really wonderful opportunity when it was presented to all of us, and we were moving very fast. There was community work that was done, and it looked like a great place for us to do it at the time, but there needed to be more community input, and the people that were being impacted, I think we fell short of listening to them and hearing from them firsthand. And so there is no money that's being sent. I think that there's a false allegation that there's money being sent, $10 million being sent back. We have not gotten $10 million in our bank account that is being sent back. So that is not true. That's a fallacy. The $10 million proposed by the state for a sleeping cabin project was just that, a proposal. The funding had not been awarded or received or encumbered by the county. I want to just make that very clear. What we're doing is listening to our community by rescinding the approval for the District 1 Sleeping Cabins project. And so I don't want to create any more harm. And so what we want to do is work more with the communities to establish a plan that figures out how we invest the $8.5 million of American Recovery Plan funding to equitably homeless solutions. And so I want my colleagues, there's 5 recommendations that I'm asking my colleagues to support us. What's really critical about Spring Valley is that Spring Valley is a community, right? And I think my colleague, Supervisor Anderson, used to represent this community as well, did a lot of work in that area. I have mentioned to the community of Spring Valley that this is a community that is new to me. When I ran for office 4 years ago, I did not represent this community. I am now your new representative, and so I want to better understand a lot of the needs, how I can better serve you, and it's a community that I share with Supervisor Montgomery Stepp, and so her and I both want to make sure that we do what is best for Spring Valley, and so together we're going to find solutions. I am having a community meeting on July 2nd, and we are bringing the whole community team from the county so we can identify some of the community solutions together. But for now, I think the best solution is to really think about rescinding the Hamisha sleeping cabins for that particular location. And so I asked my colleagues to accept my recommendations in the board letter. And so I would like to make a motion to support it before I turn it over to the public for comments. Thank you.
Thank you. We have 42 excuse me. We have 42 requests to speak on this item, 26 in person, 16 requesting to speak by phone. Also note that we received 91 e-comments, 60 in favor, 26 in opposition, and 1 neutral. Also note that we received 2 individuals registered their support but did not wish to address the board. Any individual that requested to speak on item 8 by phone, please dial into the conference line using the instructions that were provided to you. We'll begin with the in-person speakers, starting with those in favor of the recommendations. As your name is called, please come forward and stand against the east wall under the murals until it is your turn to speak. I'll be calling you in groups of 5, so I'll ask you to please listen for your name. I'd like to first invite forward Angelica Camargi, Gustavo Gallegos, Patricia Hereford, Jesse Robles, and Craig Hendricks. If I've called your name, please come forward. I'll ask you to please state your name for the audio record, and you'll have 2 minutes to address the board.
Thank you. My name is Angelica Camargo. I'm a resident of Spring Valley. I'm very emotional right now. First of all, I want to say thank you, Nora Vargas, for listening to us. I want to ask everyone else to support the chairwoman on this decision. If you guys are able to walk to our area, you guys know that we are a working community. We have schools. And if you guys have any families, you will not be comfortable letting your kids walk into school and passing through there. We have a big problem with fentanyl. And if any of those kids get hurt, who's going to be taking responsible over this? Please, like I say, I want to thank again Nora Vargas. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you for everything you're doing for this community, for our community, and to everyone else, please support her decision on canceling this project. Thank you, Monica Montgomery, too, for being part of this, too. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Supervisors. My name is Jesse Robles. First, I'd like to thank you all for the work that you have done and continue to do, as well as your staff in our communities. I'm proud to represent the communities of La Presa and Spring Valley as a member of the Community Planning Group and as a director for San Miguel Fire. I'd like to echo what has already been stated. Before this meeting, we have sent letters to each of the supervisors outlining the different situations that make this project unique compared to other homeless solutions, and we really do implore that you support the chairwoman's recommendations to rescind and reassess this project. Thank you very much, and hope to have your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Craig Hendricks, and I want to thank Nora Vargas right off the bat and her staff for all of the support that she has been giving us over the last several years. As a matter of fact, I've had a lot of direct dealings with her office in dealing with the homeless situation that is in our neighborhoods. And it became very obvious quickly that it was not a situation of people being homeless or for some other reason than they just were down on their luck. They were dealing with mental illness issues, and they were dealing with substance abuse issues. And in some cases, they were just lived outside the convenience of the law. The situation as we have right now would be inappropriate to have sleeping cabins there. And I am fully in favor of Nora Vargas's rescission of this project, because it would not, all it would do is exacerbate the current problems that need to be addressed for these individuals of substance abuse support, mental health support. And so please support her proposal to reject this project.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Patricia Hereford.
I lived in the Spring Valley area for 41 years now. I worked 40 years with the Neighborhood House Association. And I am very sympathetic to the needs and concerns of the homeless. These 150 tiny cabins will have up to 300 people in the community, and this will, and it affects thousands of people who live there. Ms. Vargas already addressed a lot of the things almost that I had written down here. A few that she did not mention was that corner is very, very dangerous. The homeless that are living there now, they run across the street. It's a major exit off the freeway. There's a major light there. They're constantly running across the street with oncoming traffic. I've seen almost, I don't know how many people almost get hit because they're a lot of times dragging things, you know, their belongings with them instead of crossing at the proper locations. The facility where you are going to put this, like she was saying, they're all along people's backyards. There's a child care center there. They've seen naked homeless people running around that the kids brought to the attention of the child care person. Mount McGill High School, the parking lot abuts against where the property is going to be. That's a high school. The kids from Avondale and La Presa are going to have to walk that way every day to and from school. And as we know, there are some homeless people that do drugs, and they leave their paraphernalia and their leftover sex things down on the floor, and our kids are walking by and seeing these things and picking them up and wondering what they are, and it's very dangerous. The homeless need more compassion. We need to build a facility where they can get all the services they need in one location.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As the next speaker is coming forward, I'd like to invite 5 additional speakers: David Covarrubias, Gilbert Chavez, Victoria Chavez, Jimmy Rosario, and Mark. If Janine, please come forward.
Sí, buenos días. Mi nombre es Gustavo Gallegos.
Okay, good morning. My name is Gustavo Gallegos.
Quisiera preguntar a las personas que hicieron este proyecto si alguna de ellos ha sentido el sentimiento de tener un hijo en peligro.
I just would like to know, and this is what I'm asking to the people that did this project, if they have ever had a feeling that they are in danger.
Y no está cerca de ellos para ayudarlos. Aquí está la prueba de lo que puede pasar si están en estas cabinas.
Okay? And not be able to be close to them in order to help them. Here it is, the proof of what would happen if these cabins are made.
Una de estas personas entró a mi patio estando mi hija en la casa. Imagínense la desesperación de no poder ayudarla.
One of these people, one of those persons came over to my patio, you know, when my daughter was home. Can you just imagine how I felt because I was not able to go in and help her?
Manejé como loco de mi trabajo a casa para poder ayudarla.
I drove from my house home. I was driving like crazy in order to get home to be able to help her.
Cuando pude llegar a mi casa, un familiar mío ya estaba afuera tratando de ayudar con esta persona.
Okay, when I got there, one of our relatives was already outside, you know, at my house trying to help this person.
Eso no fue todo. Ella se molestó porque le reclamamos sacando un cuchillo y tratando de herirnos.
And that was not the end of it. You know, she got upset, you know, because, you know, we were just asking her what she was doing there, and she threatened us with a knife.
La policía tardó demasiado en llegar, tuvimos que correr para estar a salvo.
The police took, you know, the police, it took them a long time to get home, so we had to run in order to feel safe.
¿Se imaginan instalar estas personas? ¿Saben cuántas personas son agresores sexuales?
Can you imagine with these installations, do you know how many people are, you know, sexual predators out there?
¿Cómo van a controlar a 300 personas que la mayoría tiene problemas de adicción y no están bien de sus facultades mentales?
And how are you going to control 300 people that they have problems with addiction and they are not good, you know, with their mental skills?
No estoy en contra de que lo hagan, son seres humanos igual que nosotros, pero creo que deberían buscar un lugar apropiado.
Okay, I'm not against you doing anything like this at all, but I do think that you need to find, you know, another proper place.
y tratar de no afectar a nadie y lo más importante, tener a nuestras familias a salvo.
So to try not to affect anyone, and more important than anything is so our families can be safe.
Gracias por escucharnos.
And thank you for listening.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is David Covarrubias, 21-year resident of Spring Valley and a member of the Spring Valley Coalition 2024. I'd like to start off by thanking Chairwoman Vargas for hearing our voice and making a wise decision. So I'm asking for the rest of the supervisors to make that same wise choice. None of us are against the homeless. We all want them to get help, but these people that are living in that field are criminals. They do not want help. They are continuously breaking into people's yards, stealing their property, and threatening them with violence when they're confronted. In my opinion, the only way to solve this is we need to force these people to get help, to get clean, and to rejoin society. That's the only way. Any other thing is just putting a Band-Aid on the problem, and that's not going to work. Well, that's my humble opinion. But again, I'd like to thank Chairwoman Vargas for hearing our voice. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, board members. My name is Gilbert Chavez. I'm representing the Spring Valley Coalition 2024. First of all, I really want to thank Nora Vargas for her work and her dedication to come out and look at the property and talk to us. If you just look at how many people are behind me that supports this project to stop the houses out there and help the homeless. When was the last time you had this participation from a community that wants to help? And that's all we're saying. We want to be part of the solution. I want to sit down and help the homeless. I want to work with the county. I want to see how we can fix this problem. In the last year, the homeless has doubled. We're not solving the problem here. There's got to be a better solution. We got to sit down and do something different. How about a participation between the county and the communities? Let's be novel about this and do something different. We can spend money and do something in a better, positive way than what we're doing now, because it isn't working. It isn't. We've spent billions of dollars in the state of California, and the homeless is growing. Why? Because we're doing something wrong. Let's do something different. Let's help them in a fashion that works. We have over 2,000 petition signatures in this little community that want to do something to help the homeless and stop that little cabin area. There's a better place to put them. There's a better solution. There's a better thought. We have thoughts. We have ideas. Let's sound them back and forth and see what works, because I think that's the only way we're going to fix this. We're not going to do that by just throwing money at them. We've proven that. It doesn't work. So let's sit down and do something different, and that's all we're proposing. So I hope, and again, I want to thank Nora Vargas, because you know why? She came to the site. She came and talked to us. That's a representative. That's somebody that listens to us, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, good morning. My name is Victoria Chavez, and I'm also with the Spring Valley Coalition 2024. Again, thank you, Nora, for listening to all of us. We appreciate you so much. And of course, my comments today are in protest of the Hamishaw sleeping cabins. The Spring Valley residents are against the location of the cabin due to its proximity to the Mount Miguel High School and the several elementary school and daycares. So one of the things we have wondered is if it's our economic status that is bringing and dictating the location of the project, and we hope that's not the case. Obviously, the children of our community are number one priority, just like any other parent who lives in the county, and I'm talking about La Jolla or Del Mar. We all love our children just the same. Also, Crime, we already have it. We have vandalism, and this project hasn't even begun, hasn't even started, and we already have our own problems that we're trying to deal with now. Discussions with the fire department and sheriff department will reveal they're not in favor of the project since they're already short-staffed. This will only cause slower response time for the whole community at large. Giving the homeless a place to sleep will not fix their addictions or mental health issues. The project that they had in Chula Vista is already closed. That was only a 65-cabin project. And it's already closed, and it's obvious that it failed because there's no participation. There's no participation because the homeless don't want to follow the rules of society like you and I do. They prefer to live without any responsibility to society. I'd like to recommend a site that the county actually owns. The Camp Barrett Youth Correction Facility, which is on Lions Valley Road. This is a vacant facility in the Alpine area. It holds 135 people, and with refurbishment and upgrades to the building, this would be an optimal solution.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
As the next speaker is coming forward, I'd like to invite 5 additional speakers: Selena Maxwell, Stephanie Becker, it looks like Larry Green or Carl Green, Allison Snow, and Angelica Mendoza. If I've called your name, please come forward.
Good morning, board members. I didn't expect the intro that Chairman Vargas gave. It kind of already touched on a lot of the things that I was going to mention. I do want to say thank you to Nora Vargas and her team.
Can you please state your name?
My name is Jimmy Rosario, 24-year resident, Spring Valley, born and raised here in San Diego. Again, Nora Vargas's introduction kind of touched on everything I was going to mention. I do want to say thank you to Nora Vargas and her team for actually coming out to the site and engaging with the actual neighbors that were going to be impacted by this. I just want to say thank you again for proposing to rescind this, and I do ask the remaining 4 members to please vote in favor of rescinding it. Thank you again.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Mark, mixed feelings on this. First of all, it's great to get rid of the cabins because they're way too expensive and they house very few people. Also, of course, they're probably wood and would deteriorate or be eaten by termites. People will not understand at all what's going on. The guy asked the question, how could the homeless problem keep getting worse no matter how much money you throw at? That's why. It's a business. People are making money off this in government and non-governmental organizations. A lot of money. And they don't want to solve the problem. That's what keeps the money coming in. And all these salaries for these people making $200,000 a year as supervisors. So you need to see the Rosa Corey video to understand how they are intentionally destroying our economy. And she is a California recognized court witness, an expert in land use and property evaluation in eminent domain. So see this video from 3 minutes and 40 seconds, and you'll understand a lot more about what's going on. Of course, we should 3D print houses instead, and we shouldn't be subsidizing the rent with two-thirds of our tax dollars. You could just not make people pay that and just have people pay a third, or just let them stay in the 3D printed structures. You could have 2,000 10 by 40 structures. That's 400 square feet. And of course, you put 2 of them together, it's 800 square feet. That's what a lot of people grew up in around here 50 years ago, what some people still do. This is way cheaper. It's completely better. They could also be used to house, after your counselors help them with bank accounts and jobs, and they reintegrate into society. You could use these structures to help the flood victims or any other victims that come up. They're also mobile, transportable, stackable. It's such a scam that you're doing this in the way you're making money and degrading our society. People need to see the Rosa Corey video.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, good morning. My name is Selena Maxwell, and thank you, Ms. Vargas. I have two sisters that they choose to be homeless. One is an Army vet, and she housing. I understand that housing is provided for veterans, but some of us choose not to get the help, or we're in denial about it, and both of my sisters are. One of them in particular, sometimes I see her, but she chooses to be there, and it hurts me every time because she couldn't live with me and my kids, which is why I don't believe she should be around anyone else's kids, and she has had her kids taken away from her because of her decisions. And so I do believe there is a place that homeless people should be, so that they can be contained. They may not want the help that's offered to them, or they don't want to go by the rules, which is why they're there. But being around schools and daycare providers where my children go when I'm working, it's still sad, but I believe they should have a place, and we can work together for that. And thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Stephanie Becker. I want to discuss the homeless in Spring Valley because you're taking a community that is already struggling. The bigger concern is you talk about the empathy for the homeless, but we have to have empathy for the communities that are going to suffer from them. We also hear about how we're going to house them and mental illness and drug addiction and whatever, but we don't hear about any parameters of requirements. So we're going to give them this shelter, but we have no parameters. Are we requiring people to stay sober? Are we requiring people to get into trade programs? What are the parameters for the people that are now going to be living there? None of that is communicated to the community that you want to put it in. There's no transportation there. There's no job possibilities there. It's not a productive place for people if you're giving them a hand up. But it sounds more like we're giving a hand out, and we're just sticking people to say we did something. But we didn't really do anything, because they'll be sheltered so they can shower and they can have a roof. But what are they doing all day? Are they just roaming the community? Because that's not productive. And none of us, including all of you sitting up there, none of us have gotten anything for not doing anything. It's just a fact of life. I sit here and I watch today, and the behavior from the supervisors was really disheartening. I watched Joel Anderson eat his breakfast as he chomped away on food, not caring about who was speaking, yet it's your constituents that are speaking to you. I watched Lawson Reamer, who used to be my representative because I lived in Del Mar, not once look up and make eye contact. There are two people that are making eye contact and listening to your speakers, which is Chairwoman Vargas and Monica Montgomery Steep. That's it. Nobody else cares. If that's the response we're getting here, what are we going to get when you put 300 homeless into a community and there's a problem?
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is Angelica Mendoza. First, I wanted to start off by thanking Chairwoman Nora Vargas and Monica Montgomery for listening to us. Our community has been working really hard to try to get this on the agenda, and today everybody is really happy to get it on the agenda, and hopefully it gets rescinded. I have a packet here so that all the supervisors can see the proximity and all of the stuff we have been talking, so you can see the proximity that it is to Mount Miguel. If you look one way, you would be able to look at the Mount Miguel High School. If you turn around, you'll be able to see the exit that's on the Habacha, and children walking to Avondale and on campus would be able to see the homeless. So we just want to make sure that you guys know that you are going to be affecting more than 4,000 children. There's 7 schools, like a lot of people have already mentioned, and the little leagues, not to mention. So like I said, I just want to make sure that you guys know that all of these people, I have this hard work, we have all the signatures, there's also an online petition. And once again, I want to say thank you to guys for bringing it, and I hope you guys make the right decision today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning. I'm Larry Green, longtime resident of Spring Valley. Thank you, Ms. Vargas, for rescinding your idea that Spring Valley was a good place to have this homeless encampment, which totally I was against. When I first heard about it, that Mr. Anderson over here decided to recommend Spring Valley, I was wondering, I said, well, do we know anyone there? Back in 2022, I think you guys voted on having a homeless encampment put there. Now we're all the way here in 2024, where now you're realizing that that is not, or Spring Valley entirely, is not a place to put this encampment. I think what you should do is get together and think about where you should put this, and it's not Spring Valley. I think if you would have actually did your job a long time ago, we wouldn't be at this particular point right now for you trying to vote again, hopefully voting to rescind this particular project. Now, my thought is, if you really want to do something for Spring Valley, why don't you do something that benefited? Okay, why don't you make that little area that where you was going to put the homeless encampment to use for the community? Put something there that the entire community can use. Okay, look around Spring Valley, see what you can do for it to improve it, instead of trying to put something in it that you know we don't want. Okay? You know, now Monica and you, Nora Virus, basically have an opportunity at hand. You could come up with some ideas to enlighten our or improve our area.
Thank you. Thank you. Your time is up. As the next speaker is coming forward, I'd like to invite the speakers in opposition, allegedly Audra and Hermes. Call your name, please come forward.
Good morning. My name is Allison Snow. I'm here. I wear two hats. The first hat is I run the Housing Rights Legal Clinic at the University of San Diego. So we are on the ground meeting with people who are currently in housing crisis, that are experiencing housing instability. And my second hat is as a councilwoman on the Lemon Grove City Council. We were disheartened. Originally, we've been working so hard with the county and with Caltrans and the state to try and reach a solution for East County on our homeless problem. We have so many people who are living without residences, and I hear the complaints about putting this in a working class neighborhood, but the new face of homelessness is the working class. The new face of homelessness are two parents who both have jobs with two children who can't afford $3,500 a month for rent. These people don't want to have to move to Alpine to be able to get to their doctors, to take their kids to school. The new face of homelessness is the working class. People cannot afford rent where it is right now. That's my experience on the Housing Rights Legal Clinic. The people who I serve every day, those are the people who are coming for assistance. So we need to find a way to help our working class families stay in their community while they try to get on their feet. In order to do this, now I'm putting on my hat as the Lemon Grove City Councilwoman, also representing the other council members and our mayor, and pleading with support on behalf of the East County to be able to have a good community partner with the county to do community engagement and provide the wraparound services that we need. Looking at alternative locations, Troy Street was one of them. We are eager to pursue this. We are eager to help our unhoused, and please look to East County for solutions. Use those ARPA funds and dedicate them to the East County. We really need that money out there. We don't have any low barrier shelters, and that's what we need. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
My person uses the name Andra. To set the record straight, Nora and Eric, HHS does traffic humans. So I'll keep on topic. I'm just setting the record straight. Okay. So anywho, yeah, this is a big business, and it's very sad to see how people talk about the homeless. Like they want them out of sight, out of mind, and that's the way they're treated. It's very sad. When you put them into any of these shelters, it's like a compound that they're locked away in with security, and they can only leave and come and go at certain times. They don't have freedoms, and you push them away back and back and back so people forget about it. It's like if we got down to the root of the problem, instead of hiding people away and being secretive about it, like people shouldn't see it in the community, it's sad because we should see it and we should look at it so that we can change it instead of perpetuating the problem. But you don't get rid of the problem when you deal with homelessness, because you can't. Just like Big Pharma, you can't have no sick people, otherwise you don't have a business. So it's sad to see how these people are treated, and you could do a lot more with it, but so much money gets thrown at homelessness, and the problem just gets worse and 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 worse. Because if you were actually good at what you did, because any other business, this is a business too, this whole corporation, they would be done. Their business wouldn't exist because they're failing miserably at everything that they're doing. And it's just sad to see that we'll give these individuals paraphernalia and stuff to do drugs and then try and condemn them for it and demonize them for it and then want to put them on some other drugs. Get off those drugs, come and we'll put you on these drugs. So it's sad. And yes, HHS traffics humans and children.
Next speaker, please.
Hermes here. Well, I'm surprised we're talking about homeless. It's not like, people could re-register them at all and, take their ballot and vote for them. And these locations are great locations in harvesting ballots. But it's a good thing, the fact that the Registrar of Voters refuses to look at this.
Can you please focus on the item?
Yeah, number 8, homeless. And yes, I definitely am talking about the homeless problem. And I'm talking about how you guys are using the homeless to keep you guys in office. I mean, it's very simple, because once we go ahead and examine these ballots and we determine that majority of these may have been fraudulent, we'll understand exactly why, how much money goes into the homeless problem. It would be it would make sense. It is actually a business, and the business is to get power and to pull our funds from us and all that stuff. So they go ahead and move homeless into these locations, find tiny homes, don't really care about them, load them up with drugs and send them off on their way because they got what they wanted, their signature, their ballot that they could go ahead and vote for. But yet, we don't want to go ahead and look into this, even though that there's several cases, including Fulton County recently, that people are doing exactly that. Yet, Claudia wants to go ahead and send her war dogs after me and tell me that I'm going to be going to jail if I keep on talking about this. Well, apparently, we'll find out. So, my question is, are you going to look at these signatures? Are you going to let me look at these signatures? Or are you going to keep on hiding the fraud and continue this going until the wrong person wins, which I'm really, really praying Trump 2024, baby. Because when that happens, the media will bury you for all the times that I showed up here. Have a good day.
We'll now hear from the individuals that requested to speak by phone. When it is your turn to speak, you will be unmuted and you will hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments after the beep. I'll remind the callers they should mute their TV or live video stream before they begin speaking. We will start with our first caller.
Paula Bold, I'm glad that you finally came to your senses and are rescinding this item. How much does it cost for planning and prep work? Next time, you need a map and the board letter itself, and don't do it on the quick. The way shelters would be a good solution, or big congregate shelter such as the Ranch that I told you about. And please consider all sites, not just the Spring Valley area, whatever that means. This is a county issue. Putting the homeless shelter right next to a school is not a good idea. To me, like someone planned meetings and maybe wanted this so badly that they did not listen or excluded people by scheduling it at inconvenient hours. Sounds almost like sandbag. And all for a few hundred homeless people, you can do a lot better, especially with all that land you're buying up for parks and nature preserves. Ladies and gents, you have a homeless crisis. You should put the people you represent, and of this country, may I add, ahead of plants and animals. Thanks.
Thank you. Now hear from
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Hala Sheikh Mohammed. First of all, I want to thank the committee for allowing me to speak about this very important matter. I am a longtime resident of Spring Valley. I have to say that I'm very surprised that we even have to discuss this. I am definitely for rescinding the construction of homeless cabins in the area, but I'm surprised because my neighbors and I, who a lot of them already spoke, and Chairwoman Nora Vargas also spoke about how constructing this cabins in our backyards, literally in my backyard, where my toddler is playing, running around in the backyard that I paid for, in the home that I pay high taxes on, being exposed to men and women who are not the typical homeless that somebody else earlier was saying is the new homeless picture, which is men and women who are working class, who don't have homes. That's not who we're dealing with here. We're dealing with men and women who have long-term drug and alcohol use disorder. They have mental health illnesses. They choose to be in this area, and they choose to be homeless. These are the people that are using IV drugs in my backyard, where my daughter is exposed to. They are exposing our children. My daughter, who attends my neighbor's daycare, who my neighbor has to constantly put the children back into the house because they are exposed to men and women performing lewd acts. And then having the sheriff's department, whom I pay and I help and fund, because as an internal medicine doctor who wants to live in her community and serve her community, I live here, and these men and women, these police officers, do not respond to the threats, credible threats, illegal activities happening.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Consuelo. So yeah, the trust is gone, especially with our homelessness issue. I love how the people keep saying how it was great of Nora to come out. Reminder to the tax-paying citizens in the chambers. It's her job. Another reminder, this is due and will never be solved because the homelessness issue is in fact lucrative. They get a lot of money for it, okay? So these politicians are supposed to work for us, and they don't. It's all because it's all to serve an agenda. And once you start paying attention and start really paying attention and coming to these meetings and seeing what SANDAG and MTS and even the water board, your city councils, all of it, show up. Don't just get involved when it affects you. Because like I said, they don't care about our homelessness population. They're just another number. I mean, there's so many layers to this. And it's going to get a whole lot worse. It's going to be a whole lot more chaotic. Why? Because we, the citizens, have allowed for it to get this way by trusting these reps. The trust is gone again. It's gone. So I encourage all of you to get involved, not only when it affects you and your community, but if you see your fellow neighbors struggling anywhere in the county, get involved and help. These politicians are truly good for nothing. So I say, not Trump 2024, the people 2024, because ain't Trump or Biden, neither of them are going to help you or save us. It's up to us to take responsibility for ourselves and each other.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jacqueline French, and I'm a resident in Spring Valley in a community called Dictionary Hill. I've been living in Spring Valley for over 24 years now. And it's been brought to my attention quite a while ago about the proposed Hamashaw sleeping cabinets. And I pass through that area on a daily basis, going to work, getting on Freeway 125 to go into San Diego. And I see where they want to put that, and it's most definitely not the area to place homeless encampment. More thought out discipline and determination needs to be made of where to locate a community that will house the unhomeless. Right there is not the solution. I have witnessed more of a growth in homeless population, and what was stated before about the middle class working is families, and that's not going out here in Spring Valley. The homeless population, unfortunately, are a lot of people on drugs and alcoholism, and a choice not to work and be a part of society. This community has grown positively. There are new housing developments where I live. There are $1 million plus homes here. There are people on this hill, especially my community of Dictionary Hill, that value this community. We support our businesses here. We do business with all of our local businesses in the Valley.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller. Next caller is Raquel Vasquez. Your device might be muted. And we'll come back to that caller.
Seth Barron. Hi, my name is Seth Barron. I am at the East County Regional Task Force on Homelessness right now. And I just wanted to speak to the need of shelters in this area specifically. Currently, there are no low-barrier shelters in the county or even anywhere in the county that are open and available and have excess room. Additionally, specifically here, there are over 110 families that are currently on a wait list, which means that they are homeless on the streets, and all they are asking for is shelter and a place to rest their head at night, and they are not able to get that anywhere in this county. And so I think that the need is very strong for projects like this, and we need to have more low-barrier shelters.
Thank you. Go back to that last caller. Again, Raquel Vasquez, your device might be muted. We'll come back to that caller.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, this is Shane Harris, the president of the People's Association of Justice Advocates. I just want to first and foremost thank Supervisor Nora Vargas for her leadership, both compassionately understanding that we have a crisis on the streets and we need to do something, but also compassionately equally understanding her taxpayers and understanding the people and the residents and the neighbors and the children who are concerned about the safety measures to implement something like this cabin project. So I want to thank you, Supervisor Vargas, for doing what the common sense leader does. Analyze what the constituents are saying and try to make a pivot. And so therefore, the pivot, I think, is being suggested by Supervisor Monica Montgomery Stepp, who I want to thank for her leadership in District 4 of redirecting another strategy. And therefore, her strategy is to look at redirecting that $10 million in state money toward the city of Lemon Grove, which sits next to Spring Valley. And we know that East County is tremendously in need of shelter. So I'm asking you, supervisors, and Monica Montgomery Stepp, to meet with Lemon Grove constituents and the leadership of Lemon Grove and to strategize about what that looks like if the city of Lemon Grove was to establish something like that on, I believe, Troy Street was mentioned earlier by a council member. That is, I think, a next step potential option. We should get that state money and we should redirect it, but I think it should be done compassionately and understanding the constituents in which you are looking at placing it. So please have a conversation with the Lemon Grove constituents. But I think we need to do something. We just need to be strategic and ensure that everyone is a part of this holistic approach to solving homelessness. Thank you.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Hello, this is Catherine Rhodes. And what I want to do is, and I'm glad that there's an alternative from Monica Montgomery Stepp. There's so many solutions. So anyway, for this 150 bed, it's $18.5 million with $5 to $6 million in annual operation costs. That's $123,333 per each tiny home constructed, and then $40,000 for operating costs for each tiny home. That's $163,000 per tiny home. When we had all these online meetings for years to talk about the churches and nonprofits working with the county, we told them we need operation costs. But your staff told us it was we get $10,000 for each tiny home. Then the churches have to build their own accessory structures like bathrooms and showers. And then they said the churches also have to have all the operating costs. The county's not going to help with any operating costs. And here you're trying to give out $163,000 per tiny home. I believe that you could get 10, and instead of having a big 150-bed shelter, I believe you should have 10 churches and nonprofits get 15 beds apiece. And then remember, with no CEQA, discretionary permits, public hearings, because we have the shelter clause declaration, it only works for the churches and nonprofits that they at least receive $1 from the county or city. They cannot do this without you. Please, somebody call me so I could go through this and show you how your staff basically sabotaged everybody to deal with the nonprofits and churches that were trying to do this by saying they're only going to give us $10,000 for a tiny home, and then they're not going to give any operation costs, and they're not going to have any of the upfront costs to do the bathrooms or the showers or places where you could have food. So there's so many solutions. Please, 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 somebody call.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Hi, Raquel Vasquez, and I serve as the mayor for the city of Lemon Grove. And I'm calling in today to share my support for agenda item number 8, led by Supervisor Nora Vargas, who listened to her constituents. I also join in the call that Supervisor Montgomery Stepp is making for the $10 million in state dollars to instead come to another part of her district, the city of Lemon Grove, which exists directly next to Spring Valley. I join in her call for the governor to help redirect these state dollars to Lemon Grove so that our county doesn't lose critical funding that would help us in the part of the county that actually lacks shelters, with the majority of them in the city of Lemon Grove. The majority of them in the city of San Diego. I want to collaborate with the county supervisors and our constituents for a public town hall discussion about the benefits of providing safe, monitored, and holistic shelter to those who fall on hard times, and about the supervisor's call to redirect these funds to Lemon Grove. The crisis in our streets is clear. In the 2023 point of time count, Lemon Grove was found to have nearly doubled its homeless population, with over 60 individuals found homeless. And it is the sharpest rise in the East County cities. Ultimately, the goal is to provide permanent supportive housing. That is why, under my administration, I have led as a city. Of the 19 governments under the preview of SANDAG, only one, Lemon Grove, met the 4 standards during the last cycle of the state's RENA report. However, we must know that the path to permanent supportive housing sometimes starts with temporary supportive shelters that are safe and humane, that allow people to get on their feet. We want to partner with the county to make this a joint effort. Our proposed Lemon Grove site is ready for 89 tiny homes or cabins, and it is.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
Hey, Truth, of course, I'm after the mayor of Lemon Grove, Well, what do you know? I guess Lemon Grove wants a shelter really badly. They're going to need more police, that's my opinion. And also, we're on item 8, not the consent, so you can't backwards comment, Nora. Stay on topic or I'm going to gavel you next time. Second, last month, I tried to tell you guys there'd be problems with homeless people walking around this area next to busy highway traffic. You hadn't even considered installing new pedestrian safety measures like I recommended before just dumping cabins here. Nothing compassionate about throwing people near traffic. But luckily, the neighborhood quickly organized into action when they caught word of these $18.5 million cabin beds that'll also cost $5 to $6 million a year to operate, probably more. I'm glad you listened this time, Nora, and decided to go back to the drawing board. But question, why didn't you visit the area before you approved the plan? Hello, that's your job. And what about Joe, who previously approved the plan? He didn't care what the community wanted either. That's the county MO. So nobody be surprised when the county does the same dirty tactic and throws another plan at the shelter dartboard without first asking anywhere their thoughts and getting their consent first. So for any future sleeping cabins anywhere, there needs to be substance abuse treatment included in the shelter system without harm reintroduction. And it needs to be required for those not living sober. There also needs to be workforce training and employment opportunities provided and required. High responsibility shelter is the only way to end homelessness permanently for all. The lesson from this rescinding decision should be that the county needs to start working with communities instead of against communities. Don't be like Todd Gloria, make backroom deals with big developers at outrageous cost to the taxpayers for projects that don't even work. Instead, use some of that dirty ARPA fraud money to hold town halls, listening sessions, set up an online survey, and have county staff actually visit the community instead of dictating to the community. Basic courtesy stuff. Don't disrespect the hardworking people in Spring Valley.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Good afternoon. This is Kathleen Lippett. Thank you for letting me speak. I want to speak about housing. Housing has failed at every level. Housing first policy, wasting taxpayer funds and spiking homelessness across our state. It's an extreme agenda, and the campaign cash for politicians, it's been a windfall. San Diego City Council member Von Wilpert, she's one of the very few electeds who is concerned about the excessive cost of government policies and why they continue to increase. She mentioned that developers were charging $750,000 to $1 million per unit, according to the Pacific Research Foundation. The economic conflict of interest is a significant factor in incentivizing government-subsidized permanent supportive housing units. A shelter bed costs $2,700 a month. Conflating economically displaced homeless, those who have lost their jobs, couldn't pay the rent or their bills, with those who have mental health or addiction problems or who are chronically homeless is a huge mistake. Housing First has made homelessness much worse, wasted billions of taxpayer dollars and funded housing with zero accountability. The average American is $23,000 in debt. The state is $73 billion in debt, and the national debt is $34 trillion. That failure to appreciate basic economics is at every level of our society's problems today. There's a $1.6 trillion shortfall between government spending and revenue. And raising taxes is not the answer. It is government accountability, and stop wasting money on programs that have paradoxical outcomes. Thank you for letting me.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the final caller.
Good morning. John Brady here with Lived Experience Advisors. We are a group of formerly homeless individuals that serve on over 40 different boards, committees, and commissions addressing our housing crisis and the resulting homelessness. Before I begin, I'd like to address some of the comments I heard today. The bulk of our newly homeless are driven into homelessness because of our housing affordability crisis, not because of issues like mental health and addiction. They are our seniors, our disabled, people with a health crisis or a financial crisis. In fact, the mental health and addiction issues grow or result from being homeless far too long. After 1 year on our streets and in our shelters, that damage becomes permanent, and the only thing that stops the accumulation of these effects is housing. That said, LEA, while largely in support of these types of projects, is concerned about the size and scale. We have a working model in place, amicus, allow faith-based organizations and similar organizations to host 10 to 20 of these cabin sites and allow case managers to serve them. It is cost-effective, but the challenge is these institutions do not have the ability to make the infrastructure investments and changes necessary to accommodate these cabins. We highly recommend, just like we recommend to the city, that we reduce the scale and size of these types of projects to a more manageable number. Thank you.
Thank you. And Chairwoman Vargas, that concludes public comment on this item.
Bless you. Thank you. Supervisor Montgomery-Stepp?
Thank you very, very much, Chairwoman Vargas, and thank you for bringing this forward and doing the due diligence that you did. There's a couple of things that I would like to say before I kind of go into asking some questions and clarifying the record on a couple of things. One is this is my exit to go home. So I know the area very well. I know the Smart and Final, the Albertsons, the Ross, the Target. This is where I live. And so it is also very important to me that my neighbors are heard. This is not my district, right? So I'm really, really glad the leadership of Chairwoman Vargas, because I think it's very important for us to honor and respect folks' boundaries and districts. So I also would like to thank my staff for being engaged with the community as well. This issue in particular overall is a moral issue. I have two sort of different lenses that I look at any issue around homelessness and taking care of those who do not have homes. And one is the fact that I look at myself as someone who really, my life could have ended up a very different way if I had not had my family take care of me through sickness. So it's very hard for me to cast judgment on folks that may have made a few bad decisions in their lives, that if they would have gone the other way, they would have been sitting in these seats on the other side. That does not mean that folks are not responsible for their decisions in their own lives, but it does lend me to have probably a bit more compassion, understanding that I feel very blessed. I don't feel deserving, I feel very blessed. And every day when I get off of that exit, or when I'm driving through Spring Valley, or when I was in Lamar Park at the point in time count and met a woman who worked for the school district and was evicted from her home that she rented for 22 years because the owner decided to sell it, which is their right to do. Every time I drive and see, I think about her. And I think about my responsibility to make sure that I do everything that I can so that the people who want help can get it. And I can tell you right now that is not the case. And the biggest issue we have is providing stability for people who want to get better. And the way that I looked at this project was a way to provide that. But I do also feel that we have also a responsibility to engage fully, completely, and on a continual basis with those who are most impacted in the neighboring areas. And I don't see that that was done here. So that means that, you know, we're not necessarily able to come to the middle because we started off on the wrong foot. I know there was some community engagement done, don't get me wrong, but I think the people that will be most impacted by a project like this did not get the opportunity to fully engage. So with that, I will say, of course, you know, I'm going to support this, but I do have a couple of amendments that I'll discuss in a minute. I'm going to support it because I do, you know, feel that at the end of the day, we have to support each other in our own respective districts. But I did put a solution forward, another possible solution, because I don't want to give the possibility of having these tiny homes somewhere. I don't want that to be absolved. I don't want it to go back to the state. We need to preserve our relationship with the state when it comes to this crisis that the state is in. We need to continue to be good partners with the state, and one of the ways that we do that is to find other solutions. Now it's going to be on the state and the governor, who has been working very hard to decide what he will do, but I think that we need to put our best foot forward. So in that, I want to thank Mayor Raquel Vasquez, who called in, Councilmember Allison Snow, who is right, because the statistics are telling us that more and more people are falling into homelessness because they cannot afford rent. And those are the people we don't necessarily always see. That's the single mother that's living in her car, taking a shower at the gym, and trying to fake it at work like she is not without a home. So that is true. That population is truly rising. What we see on the streets are people that have probably just given up on these systems that have a lot of barriers. That's what we mostly see on the streets. So, I just wanted to acknowledge also that the Chula Vista Tiny Home Project is open. It is, I can't necessarily speak to the success of it, but I know it is up and running, and I believe that it is successful. It is a smaller project. I also agree that we'd be hard-pressed to find any one space that we can put 150 tiny homes. That is a lot to ask of our communities. Especially as we begin to roll this out, because we have a responsibility to make it work. If we don't make it work, then that means there will be more resistance in our communities. So we do have that responsibility. I also want to just talk about our work with Lemon Grove, the city as a county. My understanding is that there was a memorandum of agreement between all the East County mayors, okay, so I'll let Supervisor Anderson talk about that. I'll be quiet on that. But it's just to the point. My point is we can do it, I believe. I will be, Lemon Grove has my commitment to be fully engaged with community as you move forward. If this is even a possibility, right, Lemon Grove is now in District 4, I will be there, because I think that this is that important, and it's very hard to find folks that are willing and want to open their doors, but people will have parameters that they want to see as well. I also have mentioned, in these conversations, because I have engaged with Lemon Grove residents and leadership in the past week quite a bit, that we also do have to look at law enforcement, especially for the city of Lemon Grove, who is, dealing with a lot right now. We do need to acknowledge that there may be additional law enforcement that is needed and dedicated to these spaces. That doesn't mean that everyone in these spaces commits crimes. But it does mean that, we're acknowledging that there may be elements of that or vulnerability there. I'm sorry, I keep talking. I'm almost done.
I was saying, I think that like the hot teams and some other programs, I think that's part of the conversation that needs to happen. So I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. That is a part of the conversation that needs to happen. But I want to make sure that I clear the record on some of these things that were said, but also acknowledging the things that were said. I get it and I understand, and I do live there. So I come off of the exit every single day. Before I go into the amendment, I do also want to say that just realistically, we do have case law and precedent. We cannot arrest people because they are poor. And if we don't provide a place for people to stay as a region, then we cannot then enforce the law the way that some folks desire to do, right? So this is a part of an overall effort, because if someone then refuses housing that is available, then there's another conversation. But if that housing is not available, it is hard to enforce. So I just want to remind that is the law in our region right now, and I believe in the state of California, unless the Supreme Court says something different soon. So I want to ask that the chairwoman consider this amendment to number 5 of the recommendations, that is also calling out the specificity of the Lemon Grove site that have been in the works and plans for a while. And I will read it, that to direct the Chief Administrative Officer, welcome to your first day, to explore and assess alternative homeless solutions in Spring Valley and surrounding communities, including the site on Troy Street in Lemon Grove, and return back, not necessarily report back, but return back to the board at our next board meeting, which is July 16th, with recommendations. This recommendation should include an analysis of feasibility, cost, and timeline to develop the Lemon Grove site. And this recommendation should also include options for the $8.5 million in ARPA previously allocated for this project for homeless solutions.
I'm fine with that. Sure. The only clarification is the $8.5 million is not solely for Lemon Grove. The $8.5 million is for that whole area. Right?
That is fine. And if so, my purpose of being very specific to this site is because it is very hard to find quite a few willing partners that we've already done a lot of this work.
Yeah, and they're willing to do it.
Right, and they're willing, and so, but if that is not, we have to have other options, because we still are not aware what the governor is going to do, although we hope and pray that we can keep these resources here in San Diego. And with that, if you accept it, thank you very much, and I will second the motion. Thank you.
Happy to accept it. All right. Supervisor Anderson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate my colleague Monica moving forward with this and focusing on that. When I got elected in 2020, I wanted to look at homelessness in my district as a regional issue, so I set up an MOU and had every mayor in my district. Lemon Grove at that time was in my district. Mayor Vasquez has been a great partner working with the county. We actually we've had over the years a number of open houses together where we fielded questions. I have never proposed any homeless solutions in my district that I did not have a community coffee. So when people say that it's a sneak attack and the rest, no, they're not. They need to stop deleting my email. I can only call you, I can only email, and I can only knock on your door. At some point, you got to take ownership of you not participating in our outreach. So I want to make sure that people understood that. The second thing I did was my district was swarmed with illegal pot shops. And I want to thank Chairman Vargas and everybody that served on the committee, on the board here, because they voted for $2.5 million for the DA and the sheriff to form a task force, and they closed over 100 illegal pot shops. most of which were in Spring Valley, El Cajon, in Lakeside. And so I grew up in Spring Valley. I lived most of my life in Spring Valley. I know where Dictionary Hill is. I try to kill myself on it more than one occasion. Don't ride your bike down it and pedal. And so I think it's important for people to also understand, I don't represent that area anymore. You all do. And everything that I was working on, whether it was the library or anything else, I passed on to Nathan Fletcher because he first had it. And I want to be supportive of your efforts, but their representative got elected there to represent them, not me. And so I just want to make sure that people understand that, because I frequently get calls and we do a referral over to y'all. Just like some of my new district, I'm sure Tara gets calls because she used to represent my new constituents. So I think it's important for the public to understand how this works. And I want to be supportive of the work that you're doing, but I'm never going to tell you what you should do in your district, because I don't represent them anymore. You do. And I trust that you are communicating for them to the best of your ability. I was hoping I could second something, but evidently it's all been worked out, so I'll look forward to voting for it.
Thank you. Again, I wanted to say thank you to my colleagues. Thank you to the community for all of your engagement. I look forward to continue to work together and moving forward. So with that, we have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Chairwoman Vargas, that motion passes with Supervisor Vice Chair Lawson-Remer voting no, all other supervisors who are present voting aye.
Thank you. With that, we're going to go ahead and take a lunch break, and we'll be back at 12:30. Thank you.
Board is in recess until 12:30 p.m.